Welcome everybody to another episode of Just Joshin. Today I got a guest back when I was in high school. All right, this young individual named Connor Buck. Evan, I would say we were friends, but we were never that close. But it's good to see his familiar face. So without any further ado, let's hop right into it. Welcome, Connor.
Sounds good, man.
How you doing?
Hey, dude, thanks for having me.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. It's
Yes,
good
sir.
to see your face. It's been a while.
Dude, it's been a minute. It's been like probably
It's
four
been so
years. It's
long.
been so long,
It
bro.
really has.
Nah,
Yeah.
that's crazy. I for a while, anything I like, any like news related to you, I always kind of saw through Mike, because I mean I
Mm.
was relatively close to Mike for a few years after high school. I haven't actually talked to him in a few years either. That whole group I actually haven't talked to in a while. Like
Yeah.
Mike, Brendan, Nick, and all them. But um, so you moved down. We were talking a little bit before we started. You moved down to North Carolina back during, or you said August of 2020. So
August, yeah.
yeah, give us a little rundown of that. So you said you had like a job lined up and all that stuff. So
Yeah, so I was right out of college. I went up to Rochester, started working at a like small creative agency there. And I mean, I knew I didn't want to be back up in New York. It was just the first kind of position that I was offered out of college. And
yeah,
so I took it. I was like, I'm gonna make money and I'm gonna get experience, so whatever. Uh, right, a couple months before the pandemic hit, I was already starting to look at jobs down here, and I was basically just gonna like, break my lease up in Rochester, get a job down here, move down here, and kind of just start new. And then April, right around April, the job that I was supposed to have got retracted because of COVID. And
mm-hmm.
they were like, we can't offer this anymore.
Yeah,
And so I kind of just spent the entire summer back in Syracuse just hanging out and then kind of just like planning my move down here because I was like, I'm still going to do it. I've
yeah,
already gotten this far, like, might as well.
yep.
Uh, and then just made the move in late August. Didn't have a job lined up. I was kind of just like, I'll figure it out when I
Just
get here.
send
So
it, dude. Hell yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
Me and my fiance are thinking the same thing. It's so we really do want to move by the end of our lease. Our lease is up in um I think I think our last month to stay in the apartment is August, so we'd have to leave by
Mm-hmm.
September. And so we're thinking about doing that, but we got some stuff to figure out. Thankfully, we have time. But yeah, jobs being retracted. I couldn't remember when we were talking before. I couldn't remember who I knew, and it was Tyler Lane. He actually had a job lined up, and then because of COVID, it was like retracted, like what happened to you, and
Yeah.
then luckily he was able to find another job. But yeah, that sucks. So you were talking about college. You
Mm-hmm.
went to Wake Forest, which is dope. What did you go there for?
So I would say originally I went there for cross country and track because
Yeah,
that was ultimately just like what got me into Wake to begin with. And at the same time, I had absolutely no idea what I wanted to do.
as
Um,
most freshmen in colleges do.
yeah, so my first year there, it was just like freedom and running, and that was all I was there for.
Yeah.
Uh, Um, and then once I declared my major, I declared it was communications with a focus in media studies and a minor in film and entrepreneurship.
Okay.
And yeah, just spent my time at school learning about film, learning about different forms of media, all that fun stuff. So
Yeah, that I mean, so did you obviously, so like you said you went to Wake Forest basically because of cross country, excuse me. Did you have a scholarship? Is that why? Or did you get like some form of a
yeah,
scholarship?
yeah. Well, so I was offered a scholarship, and when it comes to scholarships and financial aid, you can't take both. It's one or
Oh
the
wow.
other.
Okay.
And so I got way more money from financial aid.
Oh really?
So I just took that instead. So I wasn't actually like I wasn't tied down to the team.
Oh wow.
If I would have been if I took the scholarship, and honestly it worked out,
That you didn't.
being the right decision.
Nice.
to do that. So yeah,
It's funny how sometimes that life works like that. Like you don't
it
know what
really
to
does.
do, and then all of a sudden, like, oh shit, it worked out, and then you don't know.
Dude, everything happens for a reason. I know
Yeah,
that much.
that's true. But yeah, so I want to talk more about competing. So did you compete often at Wake Forest?
Yeah, well, so my competing time at Wake was pretty limited,
Oh, okay.
um, because freshman year I got injured right before ACC championships, and I was I was in the trainers every single day for about like 3.5, 4 months,
Really? So what happened?
and
What was your injury?
so it was the race right before ACC championships,
Okay.
and probably about like halfway through, the way it goes for cross country in college is 8K is the normal distance for the regular season. Then once you get into postseason, like all the championship races, you do 10K. Uh, so probably like a little over halfway through my 8K race, I just I took a step and I no longer could take another step after that. Um, I just like it. I did something to my hip, and I mean, to this day, I still have no idea what it was that actually happened. Um, and that's why I spent like 3.5, 4 months in the
That's
trainers
crazy.
every single day because they were just going back and forth. Like, is it bone? Is it muscle? We have no idea.
Wow.
And
So is this kind of like test
the
trial? It was like trial, test and trial. They didn't know like.
Yeah, I mean, they were just trying everything. And, because some days, basically how I was feeling, it would suggest that it would have been bone. And then other days, it would suggest that it would have been muscle that I injured. Um, and so they were just like, we have no idea in terms of like pinpointing what it is,
Yeah.
what it actually is. And over the course of that entire time, I didn't hear a single word from my coach. Like, he just, as soon as I got injured, it was just,
On to the next.
it was like he doesn't produce for me anymore. And so,
That's. I mean,
um,
and it's sad because that's like kind of the reality of like
yeah,
competition in college. Like if a player gets hurt, unless they're like you're like if it's on a football team, you got like the star quarterback. He's obviously not gonna like try to. He's gonna try to do everything he can to get him back. But like if someone's hurt, they just don't like. Yeah.
yeah. And so the harsh reality of that was kind of just like, I was always looking at how my high school coach treated me, which, I mean, I always consider her like a second mom.
Mm-hmm.
That's how awesome she was to every single athlete that was on her team. And so that's just like, that's what I was used to. That's what I knew. And so I guess maybe that's kind of what I expected going forward.
Yeah.
Plus being recruited by this coach for, you know, a little under 2 years, I was like, this guy really wants me to be here. Um, so like clearly he cares and clearly he wants me like
Yeah.
healthy and being able to compete. And then just like once that happened, I was kind of just like thrown to the wolves in his
Yeah.
eyes. And I was like, well, damn, if he doesn't care about me and like my recovery back to being able to race, why should I?
Yeah.
Um, and so it kind of just stopped there, unfortunately. But no.
Yeah, that's one thing that sucks. I know there are that's just one example. I know there is probably college coaches out there that absolutely care about the players. Like
Oh, of course.
obviously when it comes down to it, you need to compete and you need to like because realistically he has a job that he needs to sustain, and if he doesn't win or like produce for the school, then he's gonna lose his job. So when it comes down to it, obviously he needs to have his best his athletes and have the ones that are healthy play or like perform. But
Yeah.
to an extent, he should have obviously cared more. That's just one example of a not like a coach that just probably doesn't give a shit, like which sucks. But
Yeah. And I would say like the shittiest part was the fact that after freshman year, he was forced to retire. and they basically just like completely changed the entire program after my freshman year. And so I was like, I should have stuck it out, because
Oh,
then I could have had a better coach, and a coach that actually cared about his athletes.
yeah.
But like I said, I mean, it just goes back to like that's kind of just the way things go, and everything happens for a reason. And so I dwelled on it for a little bit, but it everything works out
No,
in the
yeah.
end.
Well, that's good. How's your hip now?
Honestly, well, I would say check back with me in a couple months, because because I'm in the starting process of training for a marathon,
Oh, okay.
and I'm racing in December, and so I've got quite a ways until I'm like really putting some serious mileage in, and like
Yeah, yeah,
really really like pounding my body to train for this. But right now, I mean, it's whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
So as of right now, they haven't like determined what it is as far as like your injury.
To this day, I still have no idea whatever
It's
happened to
just
me.
random. Just that's so
Yeah.
crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy. So quick tangent. I actually saw on your Instagram story. I think it was either yesterday or the day before. You got clipped by a car
I
while
did. Yeah.
running. Yo, what the
Yeah.
hell? I was going through the stories on Instagram, and I'm like, oh, he was talking about a video, and then like the caption said something about be careful, and I was like, wait, and I was like, hold on, I gotta watch this like and listen to it. All right,
Yeah.
go more in depth about that. Like, what the hell?
So, okay. I'm just like out on a normal run. I have like a pretty set route that I
Right.
like to
Yeah.
go on, just cuz it's got like a decent amount of foot traffic. Um, don't have to really stop much
Mm-hmm.
for regular traffic. And it was like half a mile in, and I'm going across this crosswalk with a stop sign, and it's like, I mean, it's trying to turn on to one of the busiest roads in the entire city. And so I was watching this car, I was making sure that I was good to go. I was like 100% she definitely sees me. And this lady just kept rolling through the stop sign. And I mean, luckily I was lucky enough that it was just, like me bumping the front of her car, and it was nothing serious. But literally, like, as soon as I actually got across the street after that, she rolls her window down and she just like starts cussing me out, saying like I need to pay more attention, and
Nah,
like I need
bro.
to be more careful and all this other stuff. And I like, dude, when I say the New Yorker in me almost came out on this lady, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, she's sitting here on her
Yo.
phone
Oh no.
rolling through a stop sign. I was like, what, why are you yelling at me? So it was one of those. I was like,
I would my New Yorker would have came out 100%,
it,
dude. No way.
it, everything that was going through my mind was things that should never be repeated. Um,
I
but
feel that. I feel that.
like,
I feel that.
I was just like, it's not the time. I didn't get seriously injured. Like,
Yeah, that's the
you know,
blessing there. Like that could have been way
yeah,
worse. Could have been so much worse.
yeah.
Still probably would have
And
cussed
so
you out.
yeah, dude, that's why I kind of just hopped on Instagram, and I was like, weather's getting nicer. Pay attention,
Yeah, bro.
especially like when you're driving through areas with a lot of foot traffic. Like, come on,
Dude, I
that's
know.
just basic knowledge.
Dude, for real. That's I couldn't believe it, like, and then the fact that the lady cussed you out. Like, bro, you're in the
Yeah,
wrong, dude. You hit me with your
that
car.
was the cherry. That was the cherry on top. I was
Like,
like, this. No, there's no chance
dude,
she's actually
nah,
yelling at me.
exactly, dude. Like, nah, I couldn't believe. When you said that lady
Yeah.
started and I was like, there's no way. She just hit
Yeah,
nearly.
dude.
I mean, obviously it wasn't that bad of a hit, but like she could have killed you, and she's like cussing you out. That's
Yeah.
wild. Wild.
Yep.
Real quick, I want to before we get into because you're telling me about your job that you currently have or like what you're working on right now.
Hmm.
I want to throw a little throwback on the screen here.
Oh,
One of
Oh, that's been a while.
the OG shirt. Forest.
The
It's so Forest
OG.
Company. For those that don't know, it was a um a clothing brand that you and Mike started a while back. Probably like, was it high school or like freshman year of college or something like that? It had,
Freshman year of college, yeah.
so yeah, around there. And I remember when you guys first started, I was everyone was like, or Mike, because I was close to him then. They were selling it, and so I bought one of the shirts, and now it's one of the shirts I use when I go to the gym. But I just thought that was funny, and so I asked about it, and you said you guys aren't doing that anymore. So what exactly
No.
kind of happened with that? We can talk about it briefly, but
Yeah. So, I mean, for anybody out there who's trying, who or who is like thinking about starting a clothing company, uh, just understand how expensive it actually is to start it. And then on top of that, it was just like being in college, especially, and me being in North Carolina and Mike being in New York.
yeah,
It was just like us trying to find times to, discuss different ideas that we had, or like trying to make content that we wanted to make to, try and just like push ourselves on social media a little bit more. It was so much harder because, not only are we on different schedules in college, but we're also in completely different
oh
states.
yeah, it's like 13
And
hours away too. So
yeah, and so it was one of those, it was just like we had a lot of fun doing it, but at the same time, um, we just didn't really see it going further than it had went
yeah,
at the time of when we were kind of just like, is it
yeah.
really a good idea to like keep going with it? So yeah.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because the concept was cool, but when it like you said, difficulty with the definitely in different states, like trying to run a company, and especially when it's like a first starting out as a company or trying to make a company, like you guys got to be like together doing that stuff, but
Hmm.
definitely difficult. But
Yeah.
we can get off of that now. I want to talk about you. You said you were working on something like a new brand, but we can talk about Burn Boot Camp real quick. Because
Okay.
I'm not familiar with that. So if you want to tell us what that is.
Yeah. So have you heard of like F45 or Orange Theory?
Orange Theory, I've heard of. I think we have one around
Okay.
in this area, but
So Burn Boot Camp is similar in the fact that it's a 45-minute workout, classified kind of under like the boutique fitness
yeah,
experience. And we're mainly focused towards women, especially moms. And pretty much our entire mission is just like making people feel good about working out and not necessarily focusing on like, you know oh, I want to lose x amount of weight, or oh, I want to look like this person or that person. And it's really more so like we put a lot of focus on like how you feel mentally, how you feel spiritually when you're done working out. And it's honestly just been a blessing to be able to work for a company that like puts a different focus on people's fitness that
yeah.
makes it healthier for them in the long run.
That's dope. That is dope. Is it like a newer company?
So we've been around for, I think we're hitting like the 6 year mark,
Oh, okay.
somewhere around there, at least for our franchising. Um, but I think before franchising the company, it's been maybe like 8.
So what is it? Where's Burn Boot Camp located? Like, is it all over, like nationwide?
Yeah, it's nationwide,
Oh,
but
okay.
we are headquartered here in North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
It's in a town called Huntersville. And it's like right outside of Charlotte.
Oh, okay.
So
Nice.
yeah,
I'm assuming you live like relatively close to the city, or do you live in it?
I live like right outside the city.
Oh, okay. I'm
Yeah.
assuming it's probably like relatively close to your job. You're not driving like crazy far.
I mean, I drive like
Oh
15 minutes.
yeah, see
It's
that
not
ain't nothing.
bad, but
That'd be like,
it's a
yeah.
straight shot.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that'd be like a trip to Baldensville or something. That's easy. That
Yeah,
ain't nothing.
obviously.
Ain't nothing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I do want to talk a little bit about your new brand. You said you were working on something. I want to hear a little bit
Hmm.
about that.
Um I would say it's like a slow work in progress,
Yeah,
and is basically, so my end goal personally for like career wise, I want to start my own creative agency. And this I it most people that are like very close to me have seen slash heard of the brand, and like have an idea of what it is and what I want to do.
yeah,
Um, and I really like started diving into that over the summer while I was kind of like, in limbo waiting to come down here.
yeah, yeah,
And so originally when I was going to come down here, I was just going to like full send it, start my own creative agency, and just be like, I'll figure it out. And I just had like a gut feeling that I should hold off. Because I feel like I have a lot of experience that I want to learn from other people before I kind of just like dive into it.
yeah.
And I mean, obviously, you have those moments where you can, and you have those people who just do it and they succeed. Um, but I've always been one to want to like slow play it and really make sure that when I do it the first time, I do it right.
So you
So
kind of want to
it's
see like
called,
the whole image, right? You kind of want to see everything, the big picture before you focus in on one thing.
yeah, yeah. And at the same time, I feel like I'm still so early on
Yeah,
in, uh, in my experience with photo and video, that I really want to like hone in on my skills and know that when I do start this thing and like do decide to finally take it off, that I'm going to be the best person for companies to come to
yeah,
for stuff like this. And so basically right now it's just an idea and kind of like a side brand of my personal brand, because my personal Instagram is just all of my work.
yeah,
I've never been one to really like share a whole lot of my personal life on there. So right now it kind of just lives as like a side piece of the work that I do. And then as I continue to feel like I'm getting to a point where I can kind of like take the thing off, it's one of those like, oh, I've set the brand, I've set the idea, I've set the mission, I've set the goal. And so it's kind of just something that I'm building out slowly but surely. And
yeah.
then once I feel ready to go for it, then it's like it's there and it's ready for me.
Nice. I hope
But
man, I hope it
it's
works out. That's sick.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I don't plan on doing it anytime soon,
No, yeah, like you
just
said, you want to
because,
perfect your craft.
yeah, of course. And on top of that, I love where I'm working right now.
Yeah,
And so it's one of those, I would never want to give that up, because very rarely are you able to like look at yourself and say, I love the job that I have and I love doing what I do.
yeah,
Um so yeah, right now it's just kind of like hanging out. It's not necessarily uh a project, but it's a side thought that I'm always thinking about and always trying to like, you know, add on to when I
mm-hmm.
can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing though I will say is, and I've heard it so many times growing up, like if you want to do something, at least try, because you don't want to grow up in life and be like, man, I really wish I tried this or I really wish I did that. And that's why I'm taking like YouTube right now so serious, is because I want to spend at least a few years trying to do it. And if I can't, then it doesn't work out, but at least I tried. That's the biggest thing to me. And that's what like to anybody listening to, like, just if you got a goal, go for it. And you can't drop your life, like don't obviously like quit your job and do stupid shit like that, but you gotta at least try for your goals in life.
Yeah, that's it's one of those things like, cuz I still, in my free time, I 100% go out and I shoot photography and videography for myself. And oftentimes, I have some family and friends that have their own businesses. So every now and then I'll go and do work for them for free because I want to see their business succeed.
Yeah.
And I know that, when you're starting up, money's really tight, and usually uh you can't pay for stuff like that. And so, it's one of those, like, it's not that I'm not working on it. It's just I'm working on it less because I have my job.
Yeah.
And so when I have my free time, it's like, all right, let me do some photography, let me do some videography, and then kind of like add to the portfolio.
Yeah, that's basically where I'm at too. Like I work a full time job, but when I'm home, I recording episodes like this, or I'm editing, trying to make content. But
It's a side hustle until you make it your
make it
full
your
time
full time,
thing.
exactly. So I
Yeah.
mean, hey,
Yeah.
maybe it'll work out. Real quick, you said something about family and friends, made me think. Did you? So I'm assuming your family still lives up here in New York.
Hmm.
Okay, and then did you? So did you
Yeah.
move down to North Carolina with anyone?
No. I packed my car full to the brim of just like the absolute necessities
Yeah.
and just started driving.
Damn, bro. That's so funny. Did you at least like have a place to live? Like did you know like did you like not necessarily make calls, but did you know like apartment or like places you wanted to stay?
Well, yeah, so my buddy from school actually had like a sublease for me to take over kind of month to month in a house. I'm actually in it right now.
Yeah.
Cuz I'm transitioning from the house that I'm in right now to an actual apartment.
Okay.
Um but yeah, I had this place locked down like probably 2 months before I actually made the drive down.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so you that apartment, I'm assuming it's going to be like a one bedroom like for yourself, I'm assuming.
I was thinking about it, but Charlotte is a little on the expensive side.
I'm sure, yeah.
And so I was like, if I can save a couple $100 a month by having a roommate, I might as well. Especially since we're still so young, it's like having a roommate's not going to affect me that much.
Yeah,
So
no.
might as well save the money when I can.
Yeah, exactly. Plus I'm sure you don't have kids. I'm sure you don't have like anything. Yeah,
No,
so
no.
it's just you. So
Yeah, we're not ready for that.
yeah, I have a kid. His name's Leo. He's a dog, not a kid. Not a kid.
I think that's the only kid I can handle right now.
No, yeah, I don't want a kid
Well,
at least for another like 4 or 5 years.
for
But
sure. What kind of dog do you got?
he's a corgi mix.
Nice.
Yeah, I there's probably a picture on there on my Instagram somewhere. Um, but I want to talk a little bit about photography. You mentioned it.
Okay.
That's like your side hustle. Um, when did you like originally get into photography? Because I mean, all through high school, like I said, we weren't like the closest, but we were still friends. But I never knew you were into photography, and I didn't know if that was maybe a hobby you picked up like after high school. But
Yeah, it was. So I have an exact story
all
of
right,
what
that's all
got
right.
me into photography and videography.
Okay.
So it was freshman year of college. I'm just like hanging out in the lounge, and my best friend at the time, he like comes flying into the lounge. He's like, "Dude, you gotta see this video." He pulls up YouTube, types in Jay Alvarez, and like just first video on the screen hits play. I think it was like a 6.5 minute video, and I was like, "Holy shit, this is what I want to do!" Like, this is the dream right here. Like, who wouldn't want to do this? And so it started that day, but for the first like year and a half, it was very superficial because I was like, oh, I want to do it so that I can uh, travel the world and get paid to travel and like be a big YouTuber and big on Instagram and all this other shit. And then I actually found like the purpose that I wanted to have behind it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that was what got me into
What
it.
was the context of the video? Because I have no idea what you're talking about.
You don't know Jay Alvarez?
I honestly don't. If I Google him, I might know. Well, let me get it.
You're okay. After we're done here, you're gonna have to go watch at least one of his videos, but you might get sucked into all of them.
Uh,
And it
Jay,
was
a
basically just
model?
yeah, but
Okay.
he does a whole lot of
Oh,
content
okay.
creation,
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
and basically this video is just like him going to different spots in Hawaii or other
Oh,
different
okay.
like
Okay.
other countries and doing a whole lot of skydiving, cliff jumping, like that cliche
That.
travel
Oh, yeah,
YouTuber
yeah, yeah.
stuff. But he was kind of the first one that actually like took it and made it something. And so, I mean, me being 18
Oh, yeah.
and starry-eyed, I was like,
This is it. This is
that
my.
man,
This is it.
that
This
that
is.
man, that man's got my dream, and
Yeah.
now it's time for me to chase it.
No, yeah, 100%. I would love to travel too. I think that's like I feel like that's a lot of people's like goal in life. But unfortunately, it doesn't pan out for everybody. But yeah, travel in the world. That's something I would love to do. Um,
Yeah, and it wasn't even just traveling the world; it was getting paid to
oh
travel
yeah,
the world.
exactly. Yeah.
I was like, if I can do that,
Shit, we made it. Shit, we made it.
yeah, why would I need to do anything else? Like,
Hundred
come on.
percent, 100%. So I'm assuming you've had like not necessarily photo shoots, but you've had like photo sessions or like you've like gone out and because I've seen the work you've done with the Forest Company, I've seen like the pictures on your personal Instagram. You have all these like professionally done pictures. What would be your
Mhm.
favorite photo shoot that you've done?
Um, I wouldn't say I'm not necessarily a fan of like doing planned out shoots.
Oh, okay.
Um, I'm a big fan of capturing moments and um like keeping it as raw as I possibly can. I don't like trying to make like create a moment
No, yeah, 100%.
through my photography, and so I'm not a huge fan of like actually having photo shoots and like going to different locations with people, which is why I don't do it that often.
Oh, okay.
But I would say some of my favorite pictures um, that I've ever taken would have to be from the Adirondacks. I mean, I just feel like every single time I go up there, um, I just end up creating content that I just feel is better than anything else I've done. I don't know what it is about that place, but like as soon as I get up there and I get that fresh air, it's just like no matter what kind of creative rut I might be in, it's just automatic
Yeah.
as soon as I get up there.
Just clears your head and you can kind of be
Yeah.
creative. Um
Yeah.
No, I like what you said though with the with everything you like it raw because like pictures like if you ever look at like some of the best pictures taken are like I'll use like sports for example. Like nobody poses for a picture with sports, but they're always the most memorable and they give you chills down your spine because it's in the moment and they're all the whole team celebrating and like when people
Hmm.
snap that picture, that's like wow, that's real. You can feel the emotion in the
Yeah.
picture. Whereas like staged ones are still nice, like you can take nice pictures, but like I like what you said about that. Like raw pictures are the best. Like when you catch people
Yeah.
off guard or um yeah.
And I will say that like the because a lot of times you'll take that picture and uh you'll like put it on the screen, you'll be like, that looks like shit. But as soon as you edit it, you finish that edit and you're like, okay, that actually looks good. So I will say you do need to know how to edit because that's like 80% of what like really makes that photo stand out. But yeah, man, I mean, it's just it's so much better to be able to just like capture a moment in time than try to make a moment.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I 100%. I love that little
Yeah.
notion. When you say editing though, so you mean like I don't even you got to run me through that editing with a picture. What's that mean? There's probably I'm
I
sure there's
mean,
so much. Like I'm sure there's so much, but
yeah, you can do pretty much anything to a photo, whether it be uh the exposure, like how bright or dark it is, the shadows, the highlights. Like right now, if I were able to change my scenery right here, I
Yeah.
would probably up the shadows just so you don't see these shadows everywhere. But like you can do stuff like that. You can change the temperature. So if you're say you're outdoors and it's a super like cloudy day, there's rain, and you know how it usually looks like gray or blue and it's just very like dark.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can take that and you can make it look like you just took a picture of a sunset. Like
That's crazy.
you can, if you know what you're doing, you can do pretty much anything to a photo. So
Yeah, it's I mean
it's
similar to video too. Like there's so many
oh,
professional video
video
editors.
not as much,
Oh, really?
but yeah, it's a lot harder. I'll say that
Oh, okay,
much.
okay.
Yeah,
Probably because it's
yeah,
moving, right? It's like move. There's like
yeah,
parts moving. Okay, but
yeah.
but yeah, video editing is one thing I need to. I mean, I'm not necessarily bad at it, but like the software that I use to edit my videos is not like that great, and I'm not paying for Sony Vegas just yet because that shit's like, dude, it's like a couple $100. I'm like, dude,
What do you use?
right now I use something called Filmora, and it works out
I think
perfectly.
I've heard. I
It
think I've heard.
originally it used to be called Wondershare, and I bought it like probably 2014, 2013 maybe for
Mm-hmm.
$40. And now I think it's like you have to pay monthly for it or some shit like that. But because I was like grandfathered in and I bought the original, I don't have to pay I just have the software, which is great because then I can edit my videos and
Yeah,
everything. But
that's not bad.
it's
I
not
would
like the
say
greatest.
if you don't want to pay for a program, but you still want like a high end, high quality program, DaVinci Resolve is completely free. It's a little bit harder to figure out
Yeah.
because there's a lot of like nuances to it, and it's kind of just like doesn't look like any of the other programs. But if you want a free one, I highly recommend that one. That's the one that I use for all my personal stuff
Oh,
because
okay.
I was like, with Adobe, you got to pay $20 a month
Yeah.
per
See,
app
that's
that you plan on using,
that's what's crazy to
and
me. Like you have to pay monthly.
yeah,
I think that's crazy.
yeah, it's just because they know that like there's so many people out there that need to use it.
Exactly. And it's so annoying because like why can't I just pay like I'll pay like $300 one time and then just have it for life. Whereas like they're gonna
It's
keep getting you with that fucking shit.
Yeah, it's because
Ah,
they just can keep making money off of it because they know that
exactly.
people really aren't gonna like switch away from it.
Exactly, yeah. And that's one reason why I've just kept with this because like I don't have to pay.
Dumb.
I'm
It's
just
so dumb,
I
man.
know it is. It's ridiculous. But I mean, hey, companies gotta make money, so I understand it. It just sucks. Cause yeah, Sony
Yeah.
Vegas though. It's so funny. Like whenever I look up like YouTube videos on like best editing software, it's always like Sony Vegas, and I'm sure it's amazing, and I'm sure that's what a lot of professional YouTubers use. But they're also making bank, so like
I I I honestly haven't heard anybody mention Sony Vegas
really
in like 6 years. The majority of people that I know use either Final Cut, Premiere,
Premiere. Okay,
or
actually that's the one I also
DaVinci.
heard too. Premiere is a good
Yeah.
one I've heard too. It,
Premiere is probably like the top one in terms of how many people use it. But Final Cut is super similar, and that's Apple's version
oh, okay.
of Premiere, pretty much. And then DaVinci is obviously kind of like gaining traction because it's free
No, yeah.
and it's like as quality as the other two.
I'll have to check them out. And then the last thing too, I always get so I'm lost when I start like when I go into a new video editing software. I'm like I have no idea
Yeah,
what any of this shit does.
yeah, man.
But you got any questions for me, bud?
How have you been? That's my main question.
Yeah,
Is like
I've been
I
good, bro.
mean,
I've been
nice.
just chilling. Obviously, I went to SUNY Cortland for 2 years. Well, I originally went to OCC, and then I went to Cortland for 2 years. Graduated right there. The things right there. Oh yeah, you can
Nice.
see it. You can see it, yeah.
Yeah.
That collecting dust back there. It's fucking great.
Yep.
um, But I'm thinking about doing my master's this semester, like starting it. And yeah, I want to move south. I want to move south because of more job opportunities as far as like coaching and personal training, because that's what I want to get into.
Hmm.
And up here is just it's just so bad, man. I hate the weather. You can't do anything. Like um yeah, definitely nicer weather. At least I can be outside and doing stuff. And then
Hmm.
but yeah, other than
So
that, just been working.
are you going for like your CPT and everything, or?
Um I'm not sure exactly what the certifications are that I need, but I my master's is going to be in exercise science. So
Okay.
with that, I'll be able to, like, a lot of people will see that and they'll be like, okay, let's get you, like, we'll get you in. And then I have to take those certifications. I can't remember exactly what the abbreviations were for them, but um definitely want to get into that.
Hmm.
And
Do you
then
want to do like more personal training or more coaching?
definitely, I mean, if wherever I can get my foot in the door is where I'm going to take it, but like definitely more
No, that's
coaching.
fair.
At the end of the day, like I want to coach, like college, I want to
Yeah.
coach college athletes too. That's like my biggest goal. Like I think I said on like the first or second episode of Just Joshin, I want to coach like D1 football. Like that's my biggest goal.
That'd be awesome,
I
man.
think it's crazy. Like it's so much fun. When I student taught, I did coaching because you had to coach whatever sport was available at the time. Because I went to school for
Hmm.
PE, and so you had to coach on the side. You had to do it for one of the schools because you go to two schools. And I did football, and it was so much fun. Like it was middle school football. It was like the most basic shit ever, but it was so much fun. All the kids loved like having me there, and they all like listened to me, and it was nice. Like it's amazing the feeling you get when you teach someone something or like tell them a new skill, and they go out there and they don't execute it perfectly, but they listen to what you say and try it. It's like the best feeling ever. Like
Yeah,
it's
man.
great.
Yeah. I mean, if I like, not to say if I had the time, because if I wanted to, I definitely could. But
Yeah,
like, if I ever got the opportunity to, coach cross country and track at the college level, I would just like I would take every day and just spend it how my high school coach did, which is just like making everybody actually feel
yeah.
like they're a part of the team that they're actually on. And I know, I know you would 100% do the same, but I think there needs to be more of that. So,
Oh yeah, like you definitely like.
I'm rooting for you, man.
Hey, thank you, appreciate that. My biggest, I think I don't know if I said it on camera ever, but the biggest thing I was telling, I probably told Tyler at some point. The oh no, I said it on our podcast because I have a podcast off the top
Mhm.
with my buddy Fufu. I was saying that college athletes, even though they're obviously better than like they're good athletes. They're practically
Mhm.
professional, you could say, like D1 especially, but they're still kids realistically.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
and
100%.
so a coach's ability to mold a athlete and like potentially change how they view life and just the sport in general. You can do so much with like an athlete, a college athlete, and I think that's a big reason why I want to do it too. I want to help create like the foundation for students or like student athletes, and then if they go to pro, it's amazing. And then that is one thing too. I don't know if I'd ever want to go pro in coaching. I mean, I might do it just to collect the bag and then quit after the contract's up. But like, dude, I feel like because I mean, obviously, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I feel like athletes don't necessarily they respect their coaches, but they don't give a shit sometimes because they're the ones making the money. Whereas college, like the students
Mhm.
are the
I
ones
think,
trying to make the like get their
yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, it really just, I mean, it fully depends on the coach,
Oh
because
yeah, yeah, no,
if
no,
it's
no.
a coach that you can easily respect and you get respect from as well, like there's a night and day difference. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
you look at all these athletes that ultimately, like a lot of people bitch and moan about athletes wanting to be traded to a different city to play for a different team.
yeah,
It's probably because of the coach, because the coach just like isn't helping them in the way that they need help, in the way
exactly,
that
yeah,
like they want to. produce and get wins and become better. And that's just like
Yeah.
it boils down to the coaching, and everything else kind of just like falls into place after that.
Yeah, and you'll get I'm assuming in the NFL, you'll get those occasional hot-headed athletes who think that they know better, but like in reality, they're not the ones like making the plays, looking at everything. They're kind of just playing the game, which obviously is
Yeah.
the biggest part, but then again, so is planning, so is again coaching, like you said, which it's great. I
Yeah.
mean, anywhere I could be on a football field and helping people, that's literally what I want to be at. I want to be on the football field all the time. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much what I've been up to.
Oh yeah, man, that's
Uh,
awesome.
But I want to thank you for coming on the show. Do you have any like final things? I'm gonna plug your Instagram below, and then do you just kind of use your Instagram mainly?
Pretty much, yeah,
Okay,
yeah. I don't do
the social media.
Twitter.
Yeah. Oh, Twitter
Twitter
is
is
I
just
don't know.
like that place scares me
I
sometimes.
just have Twitter because
I
it's funny as hell. Like the people on it are so funny.
Yeah, yeah, but it's
I
like
don't ever do anything on it. Yeah.
it's either really funny or really depressing.
Oh
I
yeah,
feel
dude.
like there's no in between.
I will say Twitter's like the best place to get news. I don't care what anyone says. Like Twitter is the best place to get news because everybody
I,
talks about it and like I don't know.
yeah, I'll take that. But yeah, I'm pretty much only on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm trying to not. I won't say trying to. I'm hoping to like really get back into YouTube as well, and kind of just like be creating more than I have been.
Yeah.
Just because like when I go and spend 8, 9, 10 hours at Burn doing photo and video work, one of the last things I want to do is create more photo and video.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like trying to find that motivation and inspiration to like do it more for myself. So
Yeah.
you hopefully will catch me on YouTube more often as well.
Well, you'll be catching the sub from me once you make that
Word.
channel. So,
Word.
but I appreciate your time, Connor. It was a
Yeah,
pleasure to
man.
talk to you again. Well,
Thanks
obviously,
for having me on.
yeah, I'll keep you I'll keep in touch. I won't be a stranger. But it was definitely
Absolutely.
good to see you. I'm glad everything's working out for you. That's awesome. You're down in North Carolina, living lavish.
You as well, man. You as well, man. Hey, and if you and your fiance end up moving down to North Carolina, you gotta let me know.
Yes, sir. I mean, wherever we decide to move, I'm sure it'll be on. I'll post it on wherever, and then
For sure.
we'll probably only be like a short few hour drive and link up at some point. So,
Absolutely.
but for those watching at home, thank you. Drop a like, hit subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode of Just Joshin. Peace.